Ladies and gentlemen, members and friends, Adam, Matt, here we are. It's that time again. But this time it's a bit different. We're doing a virtual tasting, but it's pre-recorded. That's just the way things have to go this month. It's everyone's really busy. There's a lot going on, and this is our opportunity for Adam and I to actually present in the same room and talk about these whiskies together. Ahead of course, this is a really exciting thing because we actually advertised this virtual. This whiskey taste, it's called the Whisky Concierge. It's in November Outturn. If you're looking at this right now and going, hey, where's my physical copy of Outturn? Visit your local partner bar. We send them to all the partner bars. We don't send them to members anymore because we don't want to send 600 kilos of paper pulp around the country and not know who's reading them. So it's really important for us to be a bit environmentally friendly there. But Outturn's coming on Friday the 17th. That's a week from right now. But of course, you're going to watch this on Monday night. We're recording this a bit early because just the way things are, the way things go, and it's about Whisky Concierge. We're calling it Whisky Concierge, by the way, because this was an opportunity, as you saw, it was my face at the top of it. It was an opportunity for me to pick out 5 casks from this massive bumper Outturn and say, here's 5 that I really like, that I'm going to recommend and say, I want us to taste through them. And there's 5 very different whiskies. And of course, we've deliberately included Malt of the Month and Premium Malt of the Month in this pack. So you can learn as much about them as possible ahead of Friday's release. Adam.
Matthew.
Why don't we start? We'll kick off, and I think we'll do it in the order as it is in the menus that I've got here. Now, you might want to lay the tasting mat out, and we can put the glasses on there, and oh, look at that, we've got our intake, we've got 1 each. 2 in every pack, guys. They're 30ml samples. They're good to share around. So I'm going to put mine on my tasting mat here as well. We're very organised today. And then we've got 5 whiskies to start. So let's start with the 35.316. It's light and delicate, but it's also Malt of the Month. So pour a bit of that. Here we go. Look, Adam and I are sharing this because that's the fun of these packs is they can be shared. You get a nice sample of each. Yeah, it'd be rude not to.
Yeah.
You get a nice sample of each, 15 mils of each. It's enough to have a proper taste. I was just having a chat with Julian, who runs co-owns Whisky and Helmet with Brooke, and just about how we're talking about difference between 10, 15 mil samples at whiskey fairs and shows and things. It's like anything less than that is not a proper taste. Like you've got to put some liquid in the glass. Otherwise,
feel it in your mouth as well. You really have to notice it.
Textural.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a textural experience. Yeah,
that's why I never spit.
Yeah. You're not just.
It's about feeling it.
Yeah, in the throat as well.
Yeah.
We have taste buds in our throat. Don't forget that, folks. You can actually taste a lot of whiskey through your throat as well as through your mouth and through your nose and your whole olfactory senses. It's not just your tongue.
So fascinating, Matthew.
Thank you. We're all learning something today.
Yeah, please.
So, 35.316, fine floral fruity fragrances. It's immediately it is light and delicate. It's immediately quite like soft summer fruits. It's like sort of like fine cotton.
It's definitely a picnic, and it is some.
Yeah, it's a summer picnic.
It's sunny outside for once.
It's 30 degrees today. It is warm today. This is exactly the kind of day you'd want to open this kind of whiskey. And I just want to also touch on the flavour profile. This is light and delicate. It's not a flavour profile we see an awful lot of. Like we see it's like saying heavily peated. You don't see a lot of heavily peated. You see good lightly peated, but it's like light and delicate. You see some sweet, fruity, and mellow. You see some young and sprightly, but
it's also not a flavour either.
Light and delicate.
Light and delicate. It's not technically a flavour.
No, it's not a flavour. But neither is old and dignified. Yeah, no. Yeah. This is almost the opposite of old and dignified. I don't think young and sprightly is the opposite of old and dignified. I think light and delicate is. And it's also fascinating to talk about a whiskey that's light and delicate, but it's also cask strength.
59.6% cask strength.
Yeah, no, just a shade off 60% ABV here. And do you get like vanilla sponge cake or vanilla wafer?
I'm getting vanilla. I don't know if I'm getting that sort of praline wafer.
I'm going to add a few drops of water to mine straight away.
I'm actually getting a hint of caramel.
Oh yeah, a bit of caramel, right? Okay. Like drizzled caramel and...
Yeah, just a very light...
It works splash. With water, by the way. I just tried it. I've just added a drop to this. Have a taste.
All right.
That is delightful.
I think I'm getting a lot more fresh flowers after the water. Like a bit more vibrancy from it.
Like pink flowers and pink wafer and pink flowers and...
How would you define a pink flower smell?
No, pink flowers have a smell. Like, how to define it? I mean, it's like it's kind of a bit sweeter than sort of like a white flower. Like, it's kind of like, rather than like it's... Yeah, a bit like pink wafer smell.
Strawberry.
Strawberry, yeah. I don't get much strawberry out of this. I do get like... It's quite savoury, actually, this one for me. It's in a nice way. It's got this lovely sort of like it's got that sort of like minty chew and melon and savoury notes going in there, which it's a lovely summer drop. It's an easy drinker over summer, this one.
Let us know what flavours you're tasting in the comments below, because we will answer them.
Yeah, look, I mean, that's a really good point, Adam. I mean, this is, while we're doing a pre-record for the virtual this month, we will answer all the questions. So please type your comments in as you would if you were in the virtual, and we will look at and answer every single one of them.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah. This video is still going live right now at 7 o'clock on the Monday, of course, when we were planning on doing this tasting.
Australian Eastern Daylight Times.
Yeah, Australian Eastern Daylight Time. It's like 4 p.m. if you're on the West Coast, or... Well, that's a lovely drop. I'm going to park that for a bit, because I'm going to see how that opens up a bit over time, because it's been sitting in a little sample bottle for the last little while.
Whiskies like this, I must say, that personally, they're not... I don't gravitate towards them.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Although I will say, the next one we're about to taste...
You're all over it, yeah.
All over it.
I mean, you might not gravitate towards us now, but you might in years to come.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, our palates change and our preferences change. I've said this before on one of our videos. I did a whole year without a single peated whiskey once, where I was just like, I didn't drink any peat, because I was like, I'm off peat for the moment. And it's just, I think your palate changes over time, and it adapts and it moves, and I think that's really important.
And you're in your spicy and dry era right now.
I really am. I'm still obsessed with spicy and dry as a flavour profile. I'm also obsessed with sweet, fruity and mellow, because there's just so many good whiskies and characteristics, and I love those refill, savoury, biscuity, dry kind of whiskies. And I think... But I'm loving my peating at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm loving...
We've got some great peat coming through.
We
a lot
do.
Of Highland peat's amazing.
Some amazing Highland peat, some amazing, there's so much coming through there.
Swedish peat.
Swedish peat, yeah. Oh.
A different brand.
Yeah, I can't say too much right now, but keep your eyes peeled coming into December as well, because we've got some absolute bangers coming along there. All right, so I'm just going to pour a bit of this one out as well. Here you go. This is the next whiskey in your lineup.
Ugh.
The 134.12 Peachy Assam Latte. Okay. Now, you were saying before, this is one of yours. This is what you're in the mood for.
I love this one from November Outturn. It's straight away, it just reminded me of having like a strawberry up and go before
that's cool.
School.
Yeah,
you know?
that's cool.
So what's this thing when I was in school?
Well, up and goes, they've been around forever. It's like...
But it's really got that strawberry muesli note to it.
How do they make up and go?
They purchase bottles of Peachy Assam Latte, take out all the alcohol.
Take out the booze, yeah, okay. Just pour it into...
Or do they?
Well, I mean, hey, kids, watch out, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's so thick, the nose on this. It is literally Adam's note about muesli. It's like it's like thick muesli through in whiskey form, strawberry muesli. I get the whole sort of latte. There's a black tea and sort of like Assam latte, and there's a lovely spice to it.
A creaminess.
Yeah, it's super creamy. If for members who've been around for a little while, you may recall, I think it was 134.5 from memory. Don't quote me on this. It was called a Dreamer's Dram. And that was one of those whiskies where people go, oh, once they tasted it, they're like, oh, wow, unpeated Indian whiskey. Like, this is unbelievable.
I feel like that's been... I can't remember exactly which one it was, but at the Vaults, I think was when I tried my first 134.
Yep.
My first Indian whiskey, full stop, and it blew my mind. And as soon as I got back, it was, what 134s do we have available? And that was around the world, I believe, at the time.
Yeah, around the world and back, it was called or something. Around the world and back?
It was either around the world. I'm not sure if they made it back, but they might have.
No, there was definitely more words to that whiskey.
It probably would have been and back then.
Yeah.
Just quietly. But
I'm glad
this one's come around again.
Yeah. No, this is
I think you're saying a 5-year-old in a climate in India is a fairly older age statement.
Yeah, I mean, 5 years of Indian maturation is, first of all, extremely unusual. Like most Indian whiskies are 2, 3, at most, like 4, maybe 4.5 years of age. To see Indian whiskey at 5 years, you'll see from this, if you look at the thing on it, it's a refill bourbon barrel. I'm assuming they've kept it pretty tight under the ground there for the maturation of this one, because it did yield 201 bottles, which is quite a bit for a 5-year-old whiskey. But their angel share in India is insanely high. The humidity and the storage conditions of whiskey over there mean that they're losing. I can't remember what the annual share is over there. It's like 14 or 16% per annum loss of evaporative losses in the cask. So let's see, have you add any water to this?
I just added some water now.
How's it going for you on the nose?
I mean, after having a neat sip, it's quite, when your mouth becomes acclimated to the dram, and then when you nose it again, it's just everywhere. It's a bit of that in the best way possible.
It doesn't lose its muesli character though with that.
No,
water.
If anything, I think it enhances it.
You get like a maple syrup note as well.
I was just thinking Sultana brand.
Sultana brand, yeah. That's a bit of like that Sultana spice, that zinginess of Sultanas with the brand.
Nosing with mouth open after having taken a sip, I get maple syrup.
Yeah. Like a bit of Nutella with a bit of water as well. It becomes a bit hazelnutty and chocolatey.
How good is Nutella though? Leave a comment if you like Nutella.
Look, thumbs up this video. Comment, like, subscribe if you like Nutella. Please press the thumbs up. No, that'd be good. In fact, if you are watching this on our YouTube channel, it's a good moment to announce that, there's so much on our channel to learn from and discover. So I do encourage you to just hit the subscribe button. That's lovely.
I know it's going to sound like a really obvious note, but it tastes lighter when you add a bit of water. I know it literally dilutes it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't taste it being diluted.
Right.
This just feels like a genuinely slightly lighter, fluffier version of the original dram.
Yeah, that's fair.
And Sultana brand. I'm getting a lot of Sultana brand, which I like.
I don't think it needs water, but it doesn't destroy it.
No.
That would be my take on that one.
If I could go back in time, I wouldn't necessarily add water again, knowing what I know now.
Knowing what I know now. Yeah.
Then, which would be later.
If I could go back in time, 6 minutes. Yeah. No, I mean that's a lovely drop, and I think it's a testament to how amazing a 5-year-old refill from India is. It's just, and every country matures whiskey very differently.
And we've only got 18 bottles to go around, so it's not many.
Yeah, I mean, Whisky and Amber bought one, and I know I'm probably going to get one, so it'll be 16 of these to go around. But it's one of those whiskies where you say it's kind of shocking how good it is, and I'm writing about an article about this actually at the moment about how there's the acceptance of whiskies from other countries other than you've got Scotland, Ireland, Japan, America. Once you take those 4 out, there's 100 other countries making good whiskey at the moment, and I think India is really the next in that realm of whiskey of single malts where you go. That's a real rare treat, and I think we'll look back on these and go, how good was it that we could get these whiskies, especially single cask Indian whiskies like that.
Do you know when the .1 was, by any chance, from 134?
It wasn't long ago. I mean, it was would have been 2018 or something, or 2017.
Okay,
yeah,
pretty good. 12 in
so it's
5 years.
So .12, 12 casks in the last 5 years or so. So not that frequent. And we didn't get all of them here. We've had a few of them. We've had more than half. .5, .6, .7 we saw. I think .10, but now we're up to .12. So yeah, I think .3 or .5 was the first one we saw here.
Okay.
Yeah.
A fine dram.
Big fan. Very thick, very muesli. Lots of strawberry notes, maple notes. It's the opposite of where if you go back to maybe the first whiskey and have a smell, just how different they are, just even from each other.
See, now I'm getting I want to say caramel.
Oh yeah,
but I don't know if that's quite
caramel.
Yeah, it's definitely evolved, this one. I'm going to have a sip of it. Shall we jump onto...
Yeah, I'll start pouring the third one if you want.
84.
Yeah.
You pour, I'll drink.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do the hard work around here, you know.
The palate for me is much the same, but the nose... Thank you.
So Big Char. Big Char.
It's a strong name.
It is.
It's a commanding name.
It needs a moment in the glass, I think, to open up. So this is a commanding name. It's a very cool name for a whiskey, Big Char, 84.37. So in 40 years of SMWS, we've had less than 40 casks from distilleries. The 37th cask from distillery 84, if you were playing along with the numbering system, in the spicy and sweet flavour profile, 59.8%. They've all been 59 point something so far. They're all up there. In fact, the next one is 59 as well, and then 63.5. We almost got them.
Who picked these whiskies? It's almost like sweetened wood. You know?
Yeah.
Like a vanilla infused cask. That's number 4, heavy char, I believe. Yep.
Yeah, so let's talk about this cask. So it's a Speyside whiskey. It's the region. Cask type, second fill, heavy char, number 4 plus hogshead. There's a lot to dissect in that, so let's just touch on that briefly. At the bottom of the tasting notes, it says matured for 10 years in a bourbon hogshead before transfer to that second fill heavy char. So let's start with bourbon hogshead, ex-bourbon hogshead. So it's a cask that was previously used for maturing bourbon, and a hogshead is like a slightly wider, fatter version of a barrel. So instead of being 2 to 220 litres, they're usually 240 to 260 litre casks. So it's a very quick coopering method of extracting, getting another 40, 50 litres out of a cask. And hoggies are less common now, actually, in use in the whiskey trade versus barrels because of the time it takes to cooper them. Even though that time is only a few minutes, when you're talking, there's many casks of whiskey that come out of Scotland and Ireland and Japan and America, etc. It takes a few minutes times 10 million casks. It's a lot of time. But it's the extra maturation this whiskey's had is in a second fill, heavy char cask. So the heavy char is a hot char method of like charring or alligatoring the cask, if you like, and giving it sort of this alligator skin style interior. And the level 4 is the highest level of char.
May I ask a question?
No, let's go.
What is the plus on the number 4? If number 4 is the highest,
is
that like
the highest plus a bit?
Plus a bit.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Interesting.
So if it's something like a 22 second heavy char, the plus may have been like a 28 second heavy char or something. So it's an extra, a little bit longer in the char. If anyone remembers, Ardbeg Alligator was released from many years ago, where they promoted the fact that they were alligator skin casks, and this is much the same thing. It's like that heavy, not actual alligator skin used in the making of this whiskey at all. Sorry, I just want to make that really clear. But yeah, it's where it's such a heavy char. It's like alligator skin, and it's this is a heavy char 4 plus, so very heavy char, but second fill that has been used for this one. So it's not. If you'd done an extra maturation in a first fill heavy char, it would have been really probably almost too much. It would have been too syrupy. But this second fill has given just like an extra dimension to the whiskey. And Distillery 84. Ooh. I love the spirit of 84. It's one of those distilleries that is just constantly what's the word for it? It's a workhorse distillery. I mean, most of it goes into blends. Getting a single cask out of them is uncommon, as you've seen.
Single malts OB range?
No, not at the moment. Well, sort of. I mean, I think it goes under the name Singleton.
Ah, I've heard of Singleton.
So Singleton is a brand, not a distillery, that is owned by Diageo for their single malts, which came about, someone might want to correct me on this if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the word Singleton came about, and it was in the guy who, what was his name? Anyway.
This isn't the distillery that starts with A, is it?
No, this isn't the distillery that starts with A, but Singleton came about because of Arthrusk.
Okay, that's what I was...
Yeah, which they realised that no one, especially in the US market, when they were first promoting it as a brand, no one could say the word Arthrusk. And let's be honest, it's a name that, it's not really very English language friendly.
It's no Jim Beam.
Yeah, it's not as easy to say as Jim Beam or Jack Daniels, it's like... It's opened up a bit now that it's been sitting in the glass a bit longer, and I think it's lovely. It's got this, it's almost balsamic drizzle, sort of like rich, sort of like cacao nibs and.
I'm definitely getting the menthol cigarette on the palate. It's sort of that. It's almost like zest, but a bit sort of. You know, when you have a. It's like when you
just brush like a pack of Holiday 50 menthols.
I was going to go on different.
Oh right, yeah, no,
I was going to say when you just brush your teeth,
yeah,
and you've got peppermint toothpaste, and then you drink some water, and it just like sort of
lingers and
yeah. It almost like sets your mouth afire, but with mint. Sort of bit of that vibe.
Yeah, I got a bit of spearmint. I almost got like a rye character on this a little bit, like a bit spearminty, rye-ish kind of. There's no rye involved, but there's a lovely malty backbone to it. I would very happily drink a bottle of this. This is like really like this is a fun summer whiskey.
Yeah,
not a whole bottle in one sitting. I'm saying I would drink through a bottle.
I'm not judging.
I would very much drink a bottle of this. I would very much share a bottle of this around. This would be. I think this is the kind of whiskey. This is definitely a Sunday afternoon in a tumbler kind of whiskey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is like
that's cool.
Warm Sunday afternoon, and you want something with a bit of grip to it, a bit of bite, a bit of spice.
It's big char energy.
It's got big char energy.
Big char energy, absolutely.
I would almost go so far to say, this is your Boxing Day test whiskey.
Okay, all right. Well, we've got a couple of perfect Christmas Day whiskies in November Outturn. The 4.332 coming up, and also the 35.310. Yeah. Unleash the beast.
We'll come to that in a second.
But it's only fitting that this will be the Boxing Day.
This is the Boxing Day test.
What's going to be the New Year's Eve dram, though? The whole Outturn.
No, I reckon your New Year's Eve dram has to be 4.332. Has to be the Mythic Beast.
Okay.
It's something. It's rich. It's old. It's something special to open on New Year's Eve. You know, you want something with a bit of heft to it.
Bit of heft.
Yeah, you know, I mean, like, you know,
big beast energy.
Something like, you know that day, like the 27th, 28th of December, where nothing really happens. So in between Christmas and New Year's, that's what fine floral fruity fragrances is for. That's what that one is for. That's that hot afternoon sort of, you know. In fact, I would go so far to say that fine floral fruity fragrances would also be fantastic on just like a single cube of ice or a bit of soda on the side on a summer's day.
And now the nose for the 35.316 is reminding me quite a bit of the palm olive hand soap.
Oh yeah,
that white, not the white one, the yellow sort of creamy looking one. I can't
yellow,
remember
like yellow hand soap. Yeah,
yeah. I can't remember what the flavour they attach to that one is, but it reminds me so much of that.
You know what? I reckon my peachy Assam latte, even in the last 10, 15 minutes, has syruped up even more in the glass.
It reminds me. All I can smell now is nose is peachy Assam latte. Sultana brand is what I meant to say. I mean, both right.
At the same time right now, forever and ever.
And 6 minutes ago.
And 6 minutes ago and right now. I'm really liking that big char. When I first nosed it, it sort of passed me by, if I'm being honest. I sort of went, oh yeah, I like it. I'm not really getting much out of it. I'll come back to it. But the longer it sits in the glass, the more I'm enjoying that.
I'm actually getting a bit of cheese from it now after nosing the others.
Like cheesy notes, like cheddar notes.
Yeah.
Right, okay, yeah.
Which is a big sort of left field note for this.
You don't get cheesy notes in some 94s. Not Alex S'mores' 94, but other 94s.
Did Alex S'mores have a 94?
Yes, he's the president of that distillery's club.
Unbelievable.
Now, the Gathering bottling with Alex S'mores in the front, there's very few of them left. If you want to jump on the site, grab this year's Gathering bottling with Alex on the front. It's no joke. I mean, honestly, I think it was Japan branch and the US branch were kind of grumpy at us because he kept that pick.
And Japan branch had one or two bottlings to have at their tastings, and their members loved it.
Yeah, they said, "Oh, how do we get the Australian bottling?" And it was like, "Well, you've got to be SMWS Australia." So yeah. Sorry, too bad.
It's a brilliant. I do love that bottling.
Yeah. I might get a second. I got one for myself, obviously, but I might get that. Might be like a second bottle sort of purchase for me. That one.
That's fair enough.
Big char, another taste. You know what I get on the palate? I get the tinned peaches, the SPC tinned peach syrup.
Really?
Yeah, like a bit of the tin taste, a bit of that fruit and tin sort of syrup.
That note I've just so heavily associated with another distillery, which features in this Outturn.
Yeah. You mean the 63s?
The 128.
Oh, 128, yeah. Oh, 128, yeah. I get a tinned peach note out of some 63s and 128. Right, get out. Whilst we're in between the third and fourth whiskies, I just want to take a moment to just touch on a couple of other things in November Outturn that are worth noting on. First of all, thank you, Adam, for producing our condensed version of our flavour profiles on the back page. So you can always check up on some of the key tasting features of each flavour profile. But page on our sustainability commitment. We've done a lot this year. It's a small page, but it means a lot to us in terms of just eliminating plastic from our lineup. Our new membership type, Membership Plus Whisky for a year. There's going to be a yearly, and the yearly version's already up on the site. The monthly version will be launching on Friday the 17th. So that's where you'll have a whisky that we send you one every single month that includes your membership. The value of the whisky we send you will be on or above the monthly cost, and there won't be any freight charges, and it includes a full membership, so all the benefits included. It's a good way to get whisky every month without having to, because I know we're all very busy. So reading Outturn every month is not an option for everyone, and this is a big issue. We're bloody hell, I actually forgot we're at 64 pages. But the thing is, it's like, it's a lot to digest. Of course, lots of experiences coming up as well around the country. But the Chili Penguin. I'm excited for Chili Penguin. Excited. Now, we've only got 30 of these being made. So we've got, and we sent the experimental malt one, number one, spirit drink number one, the 27-year-old not whiskey chili drink, to Krishna at Basic. We sent him a couple of bottles of that as samples so he could use them to create this project. So we're really excited by that.
How tall is it?
I think they're like something like 25-ish centimeters tall, but you got to remember they're not like an Easter bunny.
It's not hollow?
They're not hollow.
That's worth
completely full and thick, and they're quite heavy, and they are really awesome. It's a one-off. That's it. Once it's gone, it's gone. But look, this is just some of the things I want to touch on, and it's of course one more to really mention.
A lot of people are excited about this. Actually,
here somewhere. I don't know where it's gone. Where's it gone?
I think Hallius Road, maybe.
Do they take it?
Sabotaged. It was here 2 days ago.
An Australian whiskey brand that hosted a tasting up here has sabotaged our Advent calendar. David Debatis, and this is our Advent calendar, which is extremely exciting. The 12
a lot of people are very excited about this. Already making waves online.
This is our most exciting Advent calendar yet. Have a look at the video on our YouTube channel and on our Reels, etc. If you want, on our Instagram. This is 12 drams of Christmas. And I think we've got 70 of these to go around. Sounds like a lot. It's not. They're going to sell out. We've got 70 of these. 5 of them mixed into those 70. 5 of them have what's called a gold cap dram in them. So something that's pretty, very, very rare. So they've all got black label, white label. They've all got premium and core range in them. But there's going to be 5 packs in the world that have something super rare in them.
That's a bit similar to another local promotion we're running.
It's actually very similar to another local promotion that you are going to spot in Outturn if you take the time to flip through this. I promise it's worth it. Wow! Welcome to our Golden Ticket November promotion. $2,490 worth of golden tickets going randomly into orders from our warehouse.
I've got a golden ticket.
So that's $2,490 worth of giveaways for our golden ticket promotion. Our warehouse team are going to slip those golden tickets randomly into orders placed throughout November and December. So throughout these 2 months, you might get a golden ticket. There's 21 tickets to give away. Even the smallest prize is a $100 tasting pack. So
got to be in it to win it.
Got to be in to win it. Other than that, there's so much in this Outturn, so many goodies to read. Malts of the month, the whole issue. I love November Outturn. It's such a monumental issue. It's such a big, chunky issue, 64-something pages of goodies, and of course the 12.79. Oh, 12.79. The 40-year-old, which is our prestige release for the year, and we're very excited by having a 40-year-old whiskey for the 40th birthday of the society.
Only 12 in the country. 12,
yeah, literally 12 bottles. So check out the QR code or pop me an email. Expressions of interest are still open until the 24th, I believe, and then we'll provide the further instructions to those who have expressed interest. Okay, shall we move on? 4.332. We said before, cheers, Slungebar. Premium Malt of the Month. Now, we want to make sure when I was doing the selections of this pack, I wanted to make sure we had Malt of the Month and Premium Malt of the Month, the two biggest releases of the month, in this pack, so you could actually get a chance to preview, taste them, and actually, try before you buy if you like them. I would argue, now I've tasted this a couple of times already, I would argue that this is one of the best fours we've bottled in recent years.
Fair call.
It's old, it's sherried, it's rich, it's balanced. It's still unmistakably got that Orkney peat, that soft sort of heathery peat, but it's also...
Oh, it's great.
The sherry doesn't overwhelm the spirit, but it's such an integral part of it. It is full maturation in sherry from start to finish, but it's had an additional maturation. So it is cask strength Oloroso
to PX.
Into PX. Yeah, 17 years in Oloroso before 3 years in a PX butt. So from Oloroso butt to sherry butt.
It's on the palate. It's extremely gentle, if there at all. But on the nose, it's just a beautiful wave. It's like sherry's giving you a nice hug. Strong one at 59.9%. That is very shy of 60% at 20 years of age as well.
That's actually a really good point. ABV in whiskey, especially from Scotland, drops generally over time.
Yep.
Angel share, and the Angel share in Scotland, for those playing along, they lose more alcohol evaporative losses than water. That's just due to Northern Hemisphere, climate, humidity, everything. It's not. This is normally I should say, not always, but it's usually they lose more alcohol than water. In Australia, being we're sort of upside down world to them, we lose more water than alcohol. So
that's fitting for Australia.
There you go. So that's why whiskey's here, because there's high water content. If a cask is 63.5%, that means it's 36.5% water. Whatever. Sorry, my maths is terrible. But that means you're losing more water losses here, so therefore you see the proof go up here, and you see the proof gradually creep down. However, to see a whiskey that's still hovering at 60% ABV after 20 years of maturation means that's very low losses, very low, very tight cask, very I'd say probably 1 to 2% Angel share.
Yeah, and I mean one of the great things of single cask is, obviously, it's not always the same, but we saw a 42 just last month.
Oh, yeah.
Quiet Confidence, which was a 25-year-old, and that was 47, 48%. So that had lost
I think it was even
quite a bit.
I think it was like 45 point something, that one.
There you go.
Yeah.
And that's probably definitely the lower end of what we've bottled.
Yes, yes, yeah.
But, it's... And someone was asking at Oak Barrel, how can this be that low, but another one the same age is 50 plus.
Yeah.
Percent. It's like, well, it's all
so
many factors.
So many factors. Where it's stored, which rack it's sitting on,
how tightly sealed.
Yeah, the construction of the cask, the integrity of the wood. It was maybe, especially if it's a cask that's sitting, 3 rows deep on a lower rack, and it's leaking for 10 years. Even if it's leaking 100 mils a year, that's still a proper leak, and you're going to lose all this, and they might not see it leaking because it's such a slow leak. So there's so many things that, cause that to happen. So the more air contact and it's going to create more evaporative losses. Yeah. This is, by the way, I'm getting just to talk flavour on this one for a second, I'm getting lovely ginger nut cookies, that tree bark, that sherry, ginger cake, Jaffa cake, shredded, almost a bit of shredded carrot cake as well. How good's carrot cake?
Carrot cake is so amazing.
And so
I can see one from here.
I can visualize them from here. I get this pork scratching note.
I was about to say, I'm sort of getting the opposite, or not opposite, but quite different from what you're getting, in that I'm getting more the sweet, savoury.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm getting barbecue pork glaze.
Yeah.
Yep. When you get some barbecue from a Chinese restaurant and it's got that sweet glaze on it.
Yep. You get a bit of toasted nuts though, chestnuts, walnuts. There's a nuttiness to it. But that's usually Oloroso. You usually get a bit of nuttiness comes from a lot of Oloroso casks. Generally speaking, for those playing along with sherry, if you want to talk just back to basics for a second, generally speaking, ex Oloroso is usually a bit not as sweet, a bit nutty, a bit more sort of like nutty, soaked raisins, fruitcake kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And ex-PX, so Pedro Jimenez, ex-sherry casks usually get a bit more sort of like sticky, sweet, toffee apple, that kind of stuff. You get it like so. Oloroso, they're both types of sherry. They're both in part very different. I am more of an Oloroso sherry fan. I like the bit more sort of nutty complexity, but XPX can provide this lovely layer of sweetness, which it's done for the extra maturation in this case.
I was going to say, after a bit of time in glass, the palate is now getting quite a lot of that sherry, a bit of that stickiness, as opposed to when I first sipped it, it was just lightly peated.
Yeah. That is my pick for the dram to open on your Christmas table this year. That is the nutty, sweet, lovely drop to open.
No, not the 35.
The 35 is for that in between Christmas and New Year's.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's not said on the YouTube video.
Okay. I'm changing my mind. I can change my mind. That's okay.
I'll pray you don't change it again.
Oh, yeah, pray I don't change it again. I will. Let's pour this last drip whiskey and have a taste of where this one's up to.
The green-fingered blacksmith.
There's a couple of reasons for picking this. Is because, first of all, the 16s we get are like phenomenal peated whiskey, some of these 16s we see. And the second thing is, I love showcasing in these virtuals peated whiskey that's not from Islay. Mm. Because when you think peated whiskey, when you think peated and smoky whiskies, your first think is 53s and 29s and 33s or whatever. And it's like, cool, they're great Islay whiskies and they're phenomenal whiskies. But then the next layer down is saying, okay, but there's other peated whiskies from the mainland of Scotland going on. And some of them many of them are phenomenal. If members have had a taste of 66, this 16, things like this where you go, oh, okay, there's peated whiskies coming out that aren't just Islay whiskies and they're phenomenal. And the next layer down from that, or next layer up, whatever you like, to the side, is peated whiskies not from Scotland. And those are peated whiskies from India, from Sweden, from Japan. Like, peated whiskies from outside of Scotland are also, they're different. I mean, where the peat comes from plays a huge part of the flavour. Mm. This
is remarkably clean. It reminds me a lot of the iodine ice cream 53 we had a couple of months back.
Needs to coat the glass a bit, this one. Wow. The green-fingered blacksmith. So let's examine some of the stats on this. Full maturation in a single cask, refill, recharred hogshead. So rechar is an example of where a heavily charred cask has had a recharring process to reinvigorate it, and it's a refill version of that rechar cask.
How many times can a cask be recharred?
Ooh, I mean it's
typically.
I mean I've seen examples of where it's happened up to 3 times.
Okay.
But a cask can be used. Casks of Scotch whisky can be used, really. You see them being used 7, 8, 9 refills.
Right.
So if a whiskey's 10-year-old whiskey from a core range is being released, they can use that cask to refill that cask as many as 10 times. But each time provides less wood impact to that spirit because the wood becomes more and more used and tired, and then eventually after the 9th fill it becomes furniture. But it's at that point it's not uncommon for cheaper whiskies, for blended whiskies, in cheap blends to use 7, 8, 9 refills. The society we generally only use first fill, second fill, refill being sort of third fill. There are going to be instances where you see refill which is second fill because it might not be entirely clear or determined which fill that is. So,
if you're a fan of oily and coastal whiskies, I would 100% recommend you buy this because I would put this in oily and coastal. Just
I would put this in oily and coastal as well.
It's so salty, and those black Kalamata olives. This is great.
So
I'm a bit surprised they're heavily peated.
Yeah. I think this is oil. This probably just belongs in oily and coastal. I get that chicken and mushroom soup thing going on. I get that sort of like notes of an anvil. Does that make sense? Like an actual blacksmith studio.
Yeah, I haven't nosed an anvil recently.
You should.
Just quietly.
Nose anvils. Really get your nose close to an anvil sometime. Not too close.
Not whilst it's in use.
No, not whilst it's in use. No.
Pop a comment down below if you've ever nosed an anvil.
Tell us about your anvil nosing experiences. I love the nose. That's lovely on the palate. It's just like, it's like sooty, oily. It's like salty. It's like a fresh tin of mackerel on buttered Turkish bread. It's just, that's salted butter. That is pepe lasea on fresh toasted sourdough. That is smoky pepe lasea on fresh sourdough.
That's glorious.
I really like that. I'm going to come back around to that one. That might be one I have to get.
That's stupid.
That's a very good price on it, actually. That's a very good price on that whiskey. $169 is. I didn't really pay much attention to that. That is very well.
Had a few drams. Looked at the prices.
Just looked at the prices after I decided which ones I wanted. It's a good way to do it, actually, because it's sort of like it. Pick on flavour, not on price. Come on. Didn't need it. It doesn't need it any longer in the oak. After 8 years, that's just love. That is like spreading pepe lasea butter on toast. I love it. Smoky salted butter. They could have called this one smoky salted butter.
That's a good call, actually. It's like a thick, crusty sourdough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this. I quite like this.
But there's a bit of fruit and a bit of malt in there as well, which works really well. Like that really sort of like, I don't know, like, how to describe it. It's like smoked melon, like smoky melon note, and it's very earthy, very like rich soil and.
I'm getting malt on the nose, not so much on the palate, but definitely the salty butter.
I love that. That's actually almost my pick of the bunch this afternoon, this evening.
I think that one or Peachy Assam Latte, definitely my picks.
They're my two picks at the moment, but they're all really good in their own way, and I've left a little bit in each glass so I can come back around to it in a moment.
And they are very unique, all of them, all 5 of them.
Yeah, I'm gonna add just a see how that blacksmith goes with a bit of water. I don't think it needs it. Even at 63.5, it drinks well at 63.5. Cool. Something a bit different this November Outturn, of course, is exactly this tasting. Is this Whisky Concierge evening where we get to explore. Because sometimes in these virtuals, it's a chance for us to do preview casks, or even casks that never make their way to Outturn and are only ever featured in virtuals and events. Of course, events, so much coming up. Melbourne Christmas Party, Sydney Christmas Party, there's something going on in every city, really, as much as we can manage off the top of my head, but... and I really encourage you to make your way to as many of them as possible. Enter that draw for the 12.79, the expressions of interest, I should say. It is not a ballot. And then 17th of November, that's this Friday coming up, is of course Outturn Day. Midday, 17th.
In a way, these are all previews.
They're all previews. They're all previews of what's in Outturn, both Malt of the Month and 3 other casks that I just really want to showcase some of the diversity of flavour coming out of Outturn this month. Keep an eye on your inbox. If you're not a member of the society and you're watching this, then I hope you've enjoyed watching this, but you should really join. So smws.com.au. I will pop the links in the description below. If you haven't clicked the like button or the subscribe button, do both. Or do one, or just at least click like. We'd appreciate that. And thank you for watching this premiere broadcast of our virtual. Adam, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Matt, for having me. This
has been great. This is a really cool opportunity to taste through some goodies from November. We'll see you all soon. Sanjivar, cheers, kampai, however you enjoy it, wherever you are. Members and friends, we'll see you all soon.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.